Well, welcome to the follow-up after show, kind of our web extra for your viewers that tuned in to the big show. And we have a lot more information to talk about with our guest who was on the big show, Vanessa Guerra, Saginaw County Clerk. Thanks for sticking around for the after show. And again, we're glad you caught your breath after last Tuesday's election and ready to go again, right?
Yes,
So we talked a lot in the big show about the local elections, how that went. Now let's focus on sort of what's happening nationally. Each state kind of handles its own elections, creates confusion and chaos. Some states taking a week or more to count all the ballots. I think as we talk today, they still haven't figured out the House yet, totally.
Right.
So I think for some it creates maybe some mistrust, saying the longer it goes, okay, what's going on? I don't think there's a lot of that, but I think that's what some people think. So a couple of things, being a county clerk, what do you think of having sort of a national unified system as opposed to going state to state?
Yeah. I see why people are frustrated, right, about the delay and, knowing, well, Michigan's got their results in already. What's wrong with the rest of the state? But part of what makes our country beautiful is that we allow states to run their state when it comes to election in the way that they feel best fits their state. And so, for example, here in Michigan, we have a very decentralized system where there are different government officials at every level who then oversee the other elected official at the other levels. And so for that reason, I think it allows us to have results that are come in faster than our surrounding states. Our local clerks do the tabulation, and then we at the county level really just do the oversight to make sure they follow through on their end of what they have to do. Whereas in some other states, they might bring all the ballots to the county clerk's office to start tabulating on election day. So you're tabulating on one day millions and millions of ballots, which takes a lot more time. So I like the decentralized way that we have it here in Michigan. The hope, of course, is that maybe other states start to look at their process and realizing that people are frustrated with that. And so their voters, just like our voters had an opportunity with Prop 2 this year, will have an opportunity to change the way they process ballots.
I think it's so interesting because it depends on the issue. Some will say, well, let the federal government do their thing. Let the state handle it. But this issue, no, I want the state to handle it. And the other thing I will say, I think we're impatient. I think we want it now. Same with elections. We want it tabulated. We want everything in by the 11 o'clock news. And really, the last few election cycles, that hasn't been the case. I remember years ago, we had those hanging chads in Florida. We didn't have an outcome for a month. So, and I think now that we're enhancing voting rights, allowing more people, more options, more opportunities, there's going to be more people voting. And it's going to take some time, people.
I'm glad you brought up that it kind of has always been this way. But so my first election was 2008, the election of Barack Obama. But even before that, you had to wait for results. But now we're in an age where we have very little patience in our society, and we have the 24-hour news coverage, and so we're expecting them right away. But it has never been the case that we have everything all done in one day. I mean, it's one day, and for, like I said, some states don't even start tabulating until that single day.
And we have such a divided culture, divided country, and the races are so close. And it's cliche to say, well, every vote counts. Well, it does, because if you look at these races, it's 50, 49, 51, 49. So, folks, get out and vote, no matter what you say. Okay, I'm going to get off election for the first time in a while. Aside from elections, as the county clerk, you're sort of the clerk to the circuit court, right? And one of the big areas you're taking on is the expungement process. Talk to me about that.
So I'm an attorney as well, and so a couple of the things that drew me to being a county clerk is it's my two favorite things. So criminal justice reform, I knew I'd be able to continue to work on that like I did in the legislature, and then election. So it really was just the perfect election that I could run for.
Right in your wheelhouse.
And so there's been significant changes to Michigan's expungement law. So it used to be no more than one felony, no more than 2 misdemeanors. And again, I'll say it again, if you don't work with populations who have found themselves in trouble with the law, you might not realize how easy it is, and it sounds crazy, but how easy it is to get more than 1 felony or more than 1 misdemeanor. As someone who has a clean record, I tell people it's hard to understand that. But the fact of the matter is we have millions of Michiganders who do have a criminal record, and it prevents them from being able to get housing or to get a better job. The U of M did a study in 2019 that said after having their records cleared, their wages raised 23% just in that first year, and their ability to move up in the economy also did. And so the law changed. It allows more individuals with low-level offenses to have those expunged. And so we've held several clinics along with our really amazing partners at Legal Services and Michigan Works who have assisted in that process. And so there are a lot of people who want help, though. And so we are backlogged, but we've been able to help hundreds of people.
I'm thinking about some of these marijuana laws that people, at this point, you look back at it, well, we passed marijuana is legal now, so I think a lot of folks are going back and saying, this has held me back, you've got to get those off it. But there's many other laws, despite marijuana laws, that they're trying to get expunged, right?
Yeah, I mean, I think a common one I see a lot is a lot of retail fraud. So a lot of people who they were, 18 years old, 21 years old, and they weren't thinking right at the time, right? You're still a young person, and they made bad decisions, and they have nothing else on their record aside from that thing. And these people are, they're 50 years old now, 60 years old now, and that alone has held them back. Because when you fill out a job application, when it asks you if you have a criminal conviction of some sort, we all know what happens. You check the box, and that application is set into a different pile. And so being able to help those folks not only helps them as individuals, but it helps the economy as well.
Yeah, and you said you work with Michigan Works, so it sounds like you're collaborating with the business community, and hopefully more and more businesses are open to this idea, right?
Oh yeah. So part of it was they took on a huge load. They received some funding from the state, but a huge load in helping us go through the application, see who was actually eligible, and also provide them, of course, sort of job training opportunities throughout that as well, because we want to clear their records so that they feel good, but we also want to make sure that they can get back on their feet as well.
Well, good work on that front with the courts, and good luck on the elections. Things went well. You survived, and now you've got to make all these changes. So we'll have you back again down the road and the next election cycle and see how it goes.
I'll tell you how it went.
Thanks for coming in.
Thank you.
And thank you for joining us on the After Show.